Sure.
Good evening, everyone. This meeting is being held in accordance with the public laws of 1975, Chapter 231. An adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a notice sent to the Asbury Park Press, Two River Times, and the Star Ledger, and posted in the main lobby of the municipal building and on the municipal website. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America.
With
To the republic, one nation, under God.
with liberty and justice for all.
We have a roll call, please, Laura.
Councilmember Bonatakis. Here. Councilmember Cassidy.
Present.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood. Here. Councilmember Forrest.
Here.
Councilmember Janone.
Here on Zoom.
Deputy Mayor Tridiano. Here. And Mayor Portman.
Here. First up on our agenda is an auction for the lease of parking spaces. Do we have to read through, saw it in the resolution?
Right, yeah, you should read the terms of the auction.
Hang on, I'm gonna read the terms of the auction. Find them.
Mayor.
What's that?
Lunch break here. Do you want to do the Norma Todd Way thing?
We could do that too. It was a
Rizzo, but yeah.
Actually, let's do that real quick, because I saw Gwen is here, and we have a resolution concerning lunch break. So why don't we do that first, and then you can roll out of here. So let me scroll through and find that. And what's the number?
2444.
Thank you.
Good suggestion, Deputy. Now let's see.
24 what? Here we go. So, council, we are going to vote on a resolution authorizing an honorary street renaming for a portion of South Bridge Avenue as Norma Todd Way. Whereas Norma Todd, a lifelong humanitarian who traveled across the globe in the 1940s with her husband James, who was among the first Black officers of the U.S. Foreign Service. Todd sees the relocations as a chance to serve local people in turmoil, from helping to manage cholera outbreaks in Egypt to establishing Girl Scout troops in Indonesia and Barbados, to building a school for girls in Zambia. And whereas after years of travel, she was struck by the scope of hunger right here in her hometown Red Bank and across Monmouth County. In 1983, she was part of a gathering of 34 friends and volunteers who committed to do everything possible to aid people who struggled to put food on the table. That year, the fledgling organization opened in the basement of St. Thomas Episcopal Church in Red Bank to serve hot lunches, and later in the Celestial Lodge. And whereas while waiting for the construction of their own home, and by 1986, Lunch Break took up residence in a new community center at South Bridge Street's intersection with Dr. James Parker Boulevard, where a brightly revamped and expanded charitable center stands today. And whereas Norma Todd's spirit and legacy linger along South Bridge Avenue, the Red Bank Street that forms the corner where 40 years ago she established Lunch Break. Todd's love of her neighbors and her indomitable will drove her to create this citadel of hope in her own neighborhood after a life of travel and service to people in troubled places around the world. And now therefore be resolved by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Red Bank, Monmouth County, New Jersey, that the request of the Lunch Break Board of Trustees be honored and recognized by the honorary renaming of the portion of South Bridge Avenue between Doctors James Parker Boulevard and Newman Springs Road as Norma Todd Way, in recognition of the dedication and contributions to the Red Bank community. Can I have a motion to pass resolution number 24-44?
I'll make such a motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis.
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy.
Yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood.
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest.
Yes.
Councilmember Janone.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tridiano.
Yes.
Mayor Portman.
Yes. You want to come on and say anything, Wayne?
Go here.
Yeah.
So on behalf of the Board of Trustees at lunch break and all of the staff and volunteers and all those that we serve, I just want to say thank you so much. This is a great honor. I just spoke to her daughter who lives out of state. And whenever the dedication is happening, they're going to fly in for this momentous occasion. This not just represents what Mrs. Todd was about, but just the whole act of serving others and really dedicating your entire life for that. And Mrs. Todd dedicated 25 years of her life where people are normally retiring. She started in her 60s and she continued right into her 80s. So this is and what we have become today is because of her vision and all of your support as well, because each time we come to here from the zoning board or whatever board, we've always gotten support. So God bless you all. Thank you for doing this. This means a lot, and we hope to have you at the dedication as well. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
All right, good. Thank you for bugging me about this and staying on top.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have anybody here who's going to be bidding on the auction? Okay, making sure we have, all right. What was the number on that one, the auction?
No resolution, but after that.
We had something.
Is it?
We had something. All right, here it is. Okay. All right, so we did this at the prior meeting. Basically, just to let everybody know, the borough owns a bunch of 11 parking spaces over at the edge of the Buravino lot, for lack of a better, location. It's the Buravino lot. So if you're at Buravino, the one closest to Allen, I believe. Right. And so by law, we have to auction these spots off. Somebody wanted to lease them. And I think Greggy said that we have to have an auction for these public auctions. So statutory, right? Is this the first public auction we've had in
My first experience. That I can remember, yeah.
All right. So we approved this resolution at the last meeting. I'm going to conduct the auction. The specifics are resolution authorizing an open public auction to be held on February 8th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. for the lease of 11 borough-owned parking spaces located between Morford Place and Riverside Avenue for a period of 5 years with a minimum bid of $22,000 per year, and with the borough reserving the right to reject all bids where the highest bid is not accepted. So I guess we'll get started on the auction. All right, I always wanted to do that. All right, so I want to call, I guess, we'll call forward any prospective bidders. Come on forward. Do we get in those little fans with the numbers on them? No? All right.
Other name and address. Price,
Right. What, need a name and address too?
name and address.
Yeah, if you could just state your name and address, please.
Yeah, Devin Lyles, and our business address is 45 North Bridge Avenue.
Okay.
Any other people?
Anyone else here for the auction? Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
This publicized, this?
yes. Yeah.
When was it publicized?
I think it was 2 weeks ago, so
There's a requirement of the statute.
that it must be advertised. Can I see the resolution?
So in accordance with the statute, NJSA 48:12-14, the borough clerk caused to be advertised at least once a week
during 2 consecutive weeks with the last publication not earlier than 7 days prior to tonight. The intention
of the borough to hold the
aforesaid open auction and the conditions thereof is set forth in the resolution.
So 2 weeks ago,
twice.
one time each week, but just for the last 2 weeks. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yes, in terms of legal advertisement, yes.
And where was it advertised?
Asbury Park Press.
Asbury Park Press.
In the Asbury, nowhere else. So nowhere within the vicinity here was it? Nobody was notified.
Well, it was also, we passed a resolution 2 weeks ago here at the council meeting, so it was.
It was on like our bulletin board or whatever, like on the website. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking that it probably should have been a little more publicized than just once a week for the people in the area as well to bid on it. I mean, parking is pretty essential in Red Bank, and I think there are a lot of other entities that might have been interested collectively and singly, rather than just doing it on this one or twice, you know.
Well, again, twice in the Asbury Park Press, posted on the borough website, talked about in the last council meeting.
I mean, that's what the statute requires.
That's all the statute requires. There's no other.
A public resolution and those advertisements prior to the actual auction.
And there's no way there can be continuance on this at all? Can we ask for
You intend to bid or,
it's a possibility,
okay, well, tonight's the night, if you'd like to bid.
and that's the only, there's no way to get a temporary,
Well, what would the gentleman next to you showed up ready to bid say if we did that, right? So
well,
that's the conundrum we have as the government.
you know, the people that might be interested, I don't think had enough notice. It's just, I just want to go on record saying that. I think that the Asbury Park Press and just the council meetings here for once a week probably wasn't enough under the circumstances that parking is pretty valuable in this general vicinity, especially since we have lots and lots of apartments. We have a lot of people that would really like to have been notified ahead of time, and unfortunately, I don't think that was ample notification, but that's me. I'm Linda Cohen. Doesn't mean anything, but I do live in a building that has 150 apartments. And people do scramble for parking frequently. So if they were notified, I think that basically we're in the vicinity. It would have been something that we would have been interested in maybe allowing a little more for the parking area, which would have benefited the city as well.
Linda, can we just have your address for the record?
Yes,
Linda, thanks. I'm here. Hey, it's Kate. So sorry.
28 Riverside Avenue.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we are going to start the auction. Opening bid is $22,000 for the 11 spots. We have an opening bid. Anyone else bidding?
What is the opening bid?
22,000. Right? 22,000 going once,
23,000.
23,000. Right, we have a second bid for 23,000.
4,000.
24,000,
25,000.
5,000 we're at for 11 parking spots for, that's annually for 5 years, right?
30,000.
We're at $30,000 for the 11 parking spots. All right, 30,000 going once. 30,000 going twice. Sold, $30,000, right? Congratulations, I guess someone will be in.
So you have his name and address, correct, Laura? Okay, we will be in contact with you, sir,
We'll be in contact with you, sir, to sign the lease agreement and tender the funds.
Okay, and can you send that to email as well?
Absolutely,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Seven, is it the email I already have on file for you?
That's the first auction I've ever seen at a council meeting. A lot of council.
you gotta come to the beach towns where they do the concessions. A lot of fun.
The beach towns do that for the concessions. They do live auctions.
Okay, next up, we have public comments on agenda items only. Can I have a motion to open the floor for public comments?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Just state your name and your address, please, in the microphone there.
Marta Young, 31 Seagull Lane in Lincroft. I'm here to represent and support the the addendum to add in cutlery and condiments into your plastic bag ban. Nancy Blackwood shared the current ordinance, the way it was written, and I support the making it simple, to make it very easy for the transition, to have, basically, it's a skip the stuff. We are calling it skip the stuff, which is it allows restaurants and to only give out cutlery and condiments upon request. It's a win-win for everybody, but it's a very simple thing to add. Restaurants should support it and the language should be simple. So Nancy Blackwood has a simple language that she shared with me, and should be an easy fix to the current ordinance.
Mayor, may I speak?
Yeah, of course.
Marta Young is with Clean Water Action, and Clean Water Action came to the EC with the Skip the Stuff ordinance. And while Greg did work very hard on this ordinance, it was actually, we're asking something very, very simple. And I believe I sent the copy of the ordinance, and once it was published, and then, you and I talked and we came up with the simple version that I shared with council this afternoon. So I thought, instead of introducing the ordinance, we would workshop it, if that's okay.
Sure.
At your leisure, sir.
Okay. I mean, we'll do it here? Yeah, okay.
Why not?
Well, not during public
What's that?
right now.
Yeah, no, not right
At the
now, yeah.
appropriate time in the agenda.
Great. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? That's still Cindy first and then Barbara.
Good evening, Cindy Burnham, 71 Wallace Street. I'm here to ask some questions about 2024-03, chapter 490, the historic preservation. So Christina, I wanted to ask you, what powers does the HPC have now that they didn't have before? You're saying that, you're giving power to the HPC, and that seems to be the tagline. So what powers does it have now that it didn't have before? Because I think you've made it less powerful, but you're saying you're making it more powerful. So I'd like to know what the new powers are.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, it's mostly about the legal basis for the powers of both permit review and review of plans from other boards.
Okay, well, it comes down to advisory with no power, right? Or the power to turn down applications, which Neptune, Ocean Grove, and Asbury Park have. So you've said in your article in the Tri-City News that it's going to get some power and some regulatory teeth. What does that mean? Some power and some regulatory teeth.
It sounds like someone needs.
I guess I'm not quite sure what you're asking.
I'm asking, what does that mean? You quoted that in the Tri-City News, that the HPC would have some power and regulatory teeth. What does that mean?
Right, I would just reiterate, it's using what's available to us in the municipal land use law of New Jersey to empower this commission going forward in a way that it had not been before.
Okay, you've also, in the article, it also talks about routine requests. What, do you know what I'm talking, right?
I didn't write the Tri-City article, so.
I read it and you said these things. So, what are the routine requests? Is siding a routine request?
It's defined in the ordinance, yeah. So there's.
So can you tell me?
Routine maintenance versus minor applications versus major applications.
Okay, so what is siding considered?
I believe that is a minor application as to.
So they don't have to submit anything if they wanted to put siding on their house?
No, the ordinance outlines a permit process.
Okay.
For those minor applications. We hopefully have streamlined the overall process by tiering it into different classes, hopefully easier to understand for homeowners, building owners, when they do need to make an application for their historic.
That's always how it was. If you ask Shauna, people that wanted to put up siding had to get a permit.
Correct, but unfortunately, the HPC as a whole did not have the legal standing to enforce, as we saw in certain instances, to enforce those approvals, denials.
Well, what do you consider stones in the front yard as opposed to grass? Is that another routine request or minor or major or what?
The ordinances, they're defined, the classes are.
I'm sure you know the ordinance, right? Because, so is it in the ordinance? I mean, that's why,
Sweeping, I believe, does fall under minor, that's correct.
under what?
Under minor applications, if it's for,
Okay, so they would have to get a permit. That's what you're telling me, right?
correct, yes.
Okay, because
Excuse me, not anyone, but if they are in one of the historic districts,
historic district, exactly.
another designated site.
Okay. All right, does the HPC still have jurisdiction over the Washington Street and Historic Street, and the historic commercial downtown?
Yep, those two sites, those districts, excuse me, are maintained.
Okay. Okay. I wanted to ask too, if you think this is right. And I'm gonna address this to you, Mr. Portman, because I'm sure you put this person on. But is it appropriate to put a person, to appoint a person to a commission when they've been in front of the commission before you decommissioned it? To put siding on their house? And now they're on the commission? Is that like, right? You don't understand?
No.
There's somebody that lives in the historic district. They came to the HPC because they wanted to put siding on their house. They never got the answer. Then you guys won, you decommissioned, and then you put him on the board, on the commission. And he still got an open application for his house.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No?
He can recuse himself from obviously his own application.
Okay.
If you have a zoning permit, you put up a fence in town, it doesn't forever preclude you from serving on the zoning board or.
No, I understand that, but this, when you're talking
Do that's the
historic,
exact same thing he just said.
oh, okay. All right, and then I wanted to know about resolution 24-47. This agriculture thing. Fund a grant. You see it? I think it's G. Introduction 2024-09. Oh, I'm sorry. 09 capital ordinance providing for site remediation. Oh, that's sunset.
Talking about the spotted lantern fly grant,
Pardon me?
talking about the spotted lantern fly grant,
No, I didn't even see that. The spotted lantern.
agriculture, yeah, that's the.
Oh, okay. Is that a 50/50 grant? Or is that,
No, it's a grant up to $20,000.
oh, okay. That's what I wondered.
Municipality to use to try and mitigate the spotted lantern
Right.
species. Yeah.
It's all good. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, yes.
Barbara Boas, 135 Branch Avenue. First of all, thank you for starting the process to getting more crosswalks in town. So definitely a good start. How are we moving forward on the ones from the county? Because as we spoke before, Mayor, they started by putting some outlines on the street and never went any further. So do we have any clue as to when that section?
No, we'll have to reach out to the county, Barbara, and get an updated timeline.
Yeah, well, it's.
We got a whole bunch of emails, by the way, about crosswalks this week. Yeah.
Because crosswalks in a walking town are necessary and we are missing them all over town. And of course, having the state come in and help out financially is step in the right direction and that the streets that are getting the crossings are perfect. I mean, they need it, but they need to be spread out throughout the entire town. They need to be, you need to start near the schools and work out. And however, because the kids, most of the kids in this town walk to school. I mean, the little ones get the bus, but most of the middle school kids and the high school kids walk. So we do need those crosswalks.
Yeah, we got a bunch of emails about Riverside Avenue too, that crosswalk. Oh, yeah.
You know, they used to call that Dead Man's Crossing.
Right.
And sadly, it hasn't changed. But that, so,
The trickiest thing with the roads, like, the thing we struggle with the most in Red Bank is some of them, there's our roads, there's county road, there's state roads. And so it just makes it, when it's a county road or a state road, it just makes it a little trickier to get the work done.
sometimes it's easier to beg forgiveness than ask permission.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
I thought I was a lawyer, yeah.
Just, and just state your name and your address too.
Yes, Linda Cohen, 28 Riverside Avenue. Here we go again. And
I can't hear you and I want to hear you.
Just get close to the mic. Close to the mic as you can.
can you hear me now?
I can. Thank you so much.
28 Riverside Avenue. I want to follow up on what Barbara had just said. We are desperately in need of a crosswalk on Riverside. It's like a racetrack. Every time we try to cross the street to go to a restaurant, you're taking your life into your hands. So I just want to follow up with the council on that. It's very important for us. I mean, like I said, we're 150 units. There's a lot of people crossing all the time, even if you want to go to the drugstore before you get hit, in case you need some medication before. It is something that we really need to address. And I also would like to address a few other things, if I may, with council.
This is for agenda. Are they on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that okay? I mean,
This is a public comment for agenda items only. There's another public comment at the end for any item.
okay, then I guess I have to wait.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
do that.
We'll see you again.
Yeah, lots of hands. Well, let's go ahead. Let's get Jimmy up and then.
I just want to say first, because I know it seems like there's a couple of people who are from Riverside, that I'd be happy to engage the state. We do have the resolution on tonight for certain crosswalks, which had to put up a certain monetary value of the borough to commit to that. That being a crosswalk on 35. And again, as I'm acclimating myself with the town, I see that obviously it's a concern. Councilwoman Facey Blackwood brought it to my attention yesterday as well. So I'd be happy to engage them and see what their response is to that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
We'll one sec, guys. We'll get to you. We just had
Jimmy.
Mr. Dark.
Oh, Jimmy Dark, 48 West. Jimmy Dark.
There you go.
Sunset Avenue. The thing is, you said all agenda items only. So I looked at number, letter G. So I can talk about that.
Yeah.
About the Sunset. That's about the Sunset, West Sunset, down the foot of Sunset. About this, my thing is, as I've been saying, I think somebody should be here all the time for EPA to answer particular questions. How safe this is gonna be? Is it gonna cause any problems? I don't know. But I said, like, once you dig, I'm a regular person, but once you start digging, won't fumes start, rising, and you can't catch everything that rises once you dig. And should everybody on that street in that area be notified about this if they do have a question? And I mean, everybody doesn't have a smartphone, a laptop, or a computer. Even the people don't, newspapers be told about this. And I just, get a very dangerous feeling about this. Because my thing is, I look at what's going on in Tinton Falls, and they complaining now on TV and the newspaper. And I said, once something gets started, the damage is done.
So two things, Jimmy. One, I think that's reasonable, by the way, if we're doing work there let's make sure we get a letter out to the residents who would be directly affected. But the other side of it is that the property has to be cleaned up. It just can't be left as it is. It's probably leaching into the river now.
I understand that, Mayor Porter, but my thing is going on 3 years of stuff, going backwards. And I say now to the day, still something should have been handed out a long time ago to let people know what's about to get started. So this way you're gonna be sitting there half asleep. And then you said, I can talk to people, I can let them know what's going on. Even you can come to the council because the newspaper or the internet's not gonna tell you everything, but I'm just saying, it should be somebody that's doing it right away. Why drag their feet on wait? If you get fired, you can go put something in everybody's mailbox or notify these people, so this way they will know something. Even I didn't know about it. Just like this, some things I said, let me ask this question because it should be somebody, because my thing is like, how many people in this room live at the foot of West Sunset or over in the area know about this? I know about it. I tell my friends, you better check this out because I don't want nothing to happen to nobody, even children, adults, elderly people, and people have health problems. And I think this is a very serious thing to really look at. I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying something should be this put in the mailbox.
Agreed.
So,
So Jimmy, what is gonna happen with this now? And tonight, we're putting the
ordinance in place to
authorize the funding.
to get going, right? Because there's still
An array of investigative work that has to be done.
in a cleanup site like this. So it's not like, next week we're going with shovels in the ground and we're gonna start digging up the place.
And
On top of that, in part of the process,
we're gonna be applying for grants for this through the state.
the HDSRF grants, which require a lot of public engagement. So we have plans in place to do that.
I know that it might not be clear by just the words on an ordinance right now, but it is a funding mechanism.
The reason I'm bringing this up, and I've been doing it for a lot of time, because I said it's been a long time, and I said it shouldn't continue on having a long time, that anybody can print up something or let people know. Just don't come in there, all of a sudden you just come in there, boom. All of a sudden, I never got nothing, I ain't know nothing. And this is the easiest thing of communication, that's putting it in the mailbox, letting them know, because you wait another year or so, and then it goes 2 more years, and that's what I'm saying, it's been 3 years already. I've been keeping a close watch on it, and I live
I
down,
appreciate the suggestion
but the reason I'm saying this to you, I lived down there for almost 33 years. And I say, I take it very seriously. If you don't live somewhere, you really don't know what's going on with somebody living, what the feeling is. And nobody really never reach out to people down that street. Because you ask people, you know about? No. Have you seen anything about? No, I don't have access to a computer, laptop, or a smartphone to get questions about this. And it should be everybody's notified this. And this would be a safe thing to do this now, but don't wait all of a sudden, and all of a sudden you got a racing car or somebody doing 500 miles an hour running and just putting it in their mailbox, and you're gonna have time to really just check this thing out. And I think it'd be more compassionate just to let somebody know. Because when you live somewhere, 33 years, and all of a sudden I say, God, it's always something you don't catch, the stuff what's going on. And I'm just saying, it would be very nicely to just do it, just to hand out a flyer and put in somebody's mailbox and to give them a question. And that's all I've been asking for over going back 3 years. And still, I always said the best thing to do, if you care about somebody, just let them know. Because, you look, everybody don't see about what's going on in Tin Falls, newspaper, or in TV. You see people complaining about foul odors and stuff. And I said, I don't want this to never happen to nobody. Nobody deserves to get something to inhale that they can't deal with. But I just want to thank you for this, and I hope you would take this into consideration. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. Let's get one of the Riverside folks in the back there up. Just state your name and your address, sir,
Sure.
to the microphone.
Paul Danza, 28 Riverside Avenue. I'm actually on the board. There's several other board members here, as well as many other residents. That crosswalk, there is handicap access where we're talking about on the sidewalks already. So there is a sign there for traffic, for pedestrians, but we need a light there for pedestrians. And what I want to bring to you guys is, I understand this county, but there's several hundred cars that come out of our garage, the atrium, there's the atrium parking lot, then there's exiting for Ocean First. So we have a lot of cars coming in and out, and nobody ever seems to take that into consideration on the hazard of that. So I just want to bring that up. Thank you. And also, on the agenda was the Veterans Park. The American flag there doesn't light up. I actually emailed the town about it. I think our flag should be illuminated at night. And that's it. Thank you.
Very much. Does anyone else from that Riverside group, or did he represent well? We're good? All right, good. Bob. All right.
Your residents in your building are really lucky to have an engaged board like you guys that show up, so.
By the way, my aunt, lived in the atrium's the first one, right? She lived there for a year before she started shacking up with her boyfriend. And when I would go to visit her, I know exactly what you're talking about. It was like playing a game of Frogger trying to cross that street. Because you can't park there. There's not visitor parking. So everyone who's coming to that building, if you're visiting, has to, park on the other side. So, yes.
And I live right up the street on Riverside, so I understand.
All right, I'm starting to interrupt.
Okay.
Hi, Bob.
Hi. Hi, Kate. Bob Zuckerman, Executive Director, Red Bank River Center, 46 English Plaza. I'm here just to speak briefly about ordinance 2024-03, the Historic Preservation Commission ordinance. I just wanted to kind of state that we met, myself and a couple of board members met with the mayor, the deputy mayor, council member Bonatakis, and as well as Mr. Cannon and Mr. Gant. So I wanted to thank you for hearing our concerns. We had expressed some concerns, which I won't get into tonight, about certain language, especially when it comes to a couple of the definitions being overly broad, which could result in unintended consequences that I don't think anyone in this room would want. We consider ourselves preservationists too. I mean, we have a beautiful historic downtown, and we'd hate to see bad things happen to it. My understanding is that you're likely going to pass that ordinance tonight, because you've been a number of months now without an actual working ordinance. So you're anxious to have that proceed. But we, after speaking with the mayor, our understanding is that there are going to be potentially opportunities for us after the ordinance is passed to take a closer look at that language with Ms. Donato, the HPC attorney, and if there needs to be some tweaking to make sure that those unintended consequences don't occur, that we will do that in due time. So I just wanted to say thank you for hearing us and for working with us on that, so that to make sure that we get an ordinance that is in alignment with your vision, which I believe is our vision too. So that's it.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks.
Sue, I saw your hand up. Thanks.
Suzanne Viscomi, 25 Cedar Street. My first question is 2024-03. I compared this to other ordinances, like the planning board and the zoning board. The one thing I see that's lacking is a removal of a person off of it. for example, on the zoning board, section C-2, there is, sorry, dash F, there's a quotation saying removal of a board and how that works. And also for the zoning board, 490-8E, removal of a board may ask for like a public hearing. Well, first, I don't agree that there's no continuity between all the different boards. Some boards you can remove if you miss a certain amount of meetings, but I didn't see any notation that, how a member would be removed of this newly formed.
Person, or just, is that something that? I mean, in general, you have general removal. Well, I think, maybe I wrote this in, I didn't. If you miss meeting, like, for example, there's general application, if you miss meetings, can be rescinded by the appointing authority when the member, without being excused by a majority of authorized members of such body, fails to attend and participate for 8 consecutive weeks, which tracks the state statute. I mean, there are, for lack of duties.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird because the zoning board and the planning board had specific, I guess, what would, if you're on the zoning board, would that ruling or process supersede what you just read from the generic overlay, or what?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not showing up, you can, I mean, it's generally, well, I'll be honest with you, I've worked really hard to try to get people on the board. I haven't considered removing them yet.
And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because you want to have people on the board that are not owed, right? You want people that are gonna go on the board and make the right decision. I would hate for, like, one of them says that you could arbitrarily come off just to be asked to come off and the council agrees. There's some boards. So I just want to make sure if someone's on the board that they can vote their conscience and not feel like there's some kind of underlying way to get them off if they don't agree with the overall committee, is my
Well,
point.
I understand that. I mean, that's why they all take the oath at the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's legally binding.
Okay. My next one would be the 024-08. How is that gonna be enforced? Because I still go to restaurants in town and I get straws now, and I'm curious because, and not paper straws, actual plastic straws still. So if this is a good idea, what's the process for enforcement? And who's responsible for it?
Speak to that if you'd like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you did the original one.
Yeah, so I was the only person sitting up here when we passed the plastic ban, one year, actually, I think, believe, with the state. What I'll say about ordinances like that, or even, for example, noise ordinance, things of that nature, is oftentimes, and this is true of any municipality, is that if people are not reporting the issues, then the issues will persist. That is the reality of these types of ordinances. You put them in with the best nature, with the best reasoning, hoping that the influence and the progress will be great enough that it has the impact that it warrants or that you would want to have it see. But in reality, there is a code enforcement page on the borough website. If you see something that you think is not following an ordinance and you believe that they should be, there is a place to anonymously report that. But it is the case in all municipalities that there are not code enforcement people running around from place to place and to having those conversations. They do have other things to do and we respect that. But here in Red Bank, we don't let that halt progress and we don't let that halt us doing what we believe is in the best interest of the borough. And one of the things that we believe in is that reducing waste, that then we are paying money to have processed when you're not using half the stuff that they're giving you. We believe that that's strong policy. It's good policy. So that's I know you are great at catching people who aren't following code in town. So if you are at a restaurant and you see something, if they're not giving their straws by request, they're using a container that is not by ordinance, there is the code enforcement website and I would suggest you report it.
And when you say it's anonymous, is it anonymous to go in or just, would it be anonymous to the public if you overact it, or just be anonymous?
You have the ability to give an anonymous complaint through the code enforcement website. Anybody has the ability to do that about any issue that they see.
Great, because.
Which we've told you at multiple meetings about things that you've seen on the street and everything. I keep saying that there's a way to anonymously report this.
I think it's a balance. I think that the town puts a rule, they should also enforce it too, because I didn't get hired to do the job. 24-41, about the lead testing. Just out of curiosity, actually had a friend had this problem. I know we're working from the west side over and you're extending the bond. Work's getting done. My question is, if a person lived on, let's say, John Street and their pipe broke, and they have to get work done on the street and they have to get, and when the work's getting done on the street, they notice that it's a lead pipe. Does that resident have to pay for the conversion to non-lead pipe, even though the town overall is paying for other people on the west side? Or is it, or if the pipe breaks, would they have to pay for the work? And then the piece related to the lead portion that you're replacing gonna be paid for by the town?
So you're stating if something was to happen right now, like emergency work, and it might, in the future, once they start test pitting the east side, it might get connected to the work that's already going to be happening.
Like if you're already, if the rule is everything's supposed to be trained over in time.
So I think the way the laws, the ordinance stands now is you are responsible for the line from the main to the curb and then from the curb to the house. So if something happened on my street, on John Street, like my line burst, I don't know, 5 years ago, and I know this was before, but I was responsible to pay for the repair either way.
Right, but now that the town's paying for it, like my street, there's people got theirs switched out.
Yeah, no, I've had a bunch of people reach out and saying like, hey, I gotta do my line. You know, can I get a credit? We just don't, I went over this with we don't have there's not a mechanism right now for that.
So bad timing.
It's bad timing, yeah. If we can figure out a workaround, I'm all for it. I mean, we said we would pay for them. And we're just following the order. If we can figure out a way to get funding for it to start covering those emergency ones,
You're saying if the line is on the,
right now on the east side of
Right.
town, if it's proved to be,
It's just not in the phase yet. We're gonna go.
like, for example, so if it's proved to be galvanized or lead on a break in somebody's yard, if there would be a credit given towards the resident if they had to replace it right now.
Right, if they had to place it now, but let's say it's gonna be in phase 3 and it didn't break, you're gonna cover the cost. Because bad timing and
we even had an elderly resident reach out to us whose water pressure is terrible, probably because it's like a lead line that's gotten corroded over years, and we just don't have I think she's on Spring Street, somewhere on the east side, and we don't have, if we can look into this and see if we can have some kind of emergency fund to cover those, because we are gonna be paying for them. I would love to see that happen, because I've gotten a lot of those calls.
Right, or even.
And they don't care that I had to pay for mine, so who cares? Yeah.
No, that's my point. It's unfortunate and bad timing. You're gonna pay for it. The town's gonna pay for it if it didn't break in the year, but.
As of right now, you'd have to pay for it. It would be bad timing, but I'm gonna have Jim look into it, see if we can generate some kind of emergency fund that covers that.
I think they paid for it when they did some work on Bergen, on East Bergen, but that was part of a road program. Not part of the lead pipe program, but it was part of the
It
road.
was a road program, and we actually broke someone's pipe, I think, while the construction crew doing the work, so.
Like 5.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate we were talking about the crosswalks and stuff. It is bad and for a lot of you guys who weren't here, but Ben remembers, the old mayor, Mena, said he did a novena when he would leave his old office to pull out of the street. So it's been a problem for a very long time when there was less traffic. And it's still an issue. So hopefully it gets rectified, because look at all the building that's going up there and all the additional businesses. Oh, and also to follow up on the crosswalk, another thing I've noticed is it's great to have the crosswalks, but it's not good to have a crosswalk when there's a car parked on it. Or when you have a crosswalk and then you have X amount of feet to the curb to make that left or right turn, and then there's a car blocking your vision. So enforcement would be nice, and also having some continuity with the yellow line. I know they finally did my street, so when I pull out of Cedar Street, I can see because they put a yellow line and now vans aren't parking right up to that curb. So again, it's great to have a crosswalk, but if you don't have the visual of it, it's still dangerous. So it goes back to enforcement, which is really necessary, I think. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yes, Amy.
Hello, my name is Amy Goldsmith. I live at 16 Locust Avenue on the west side. I'm also the State Director for Clean Water Action. And I'm here both as a resident and as the State Director of Clean Water Action. Just wanted to say that I'm really pleased that the Red Bank is leading the way once again on plastics and trash that we get out of our food delivery and food, systems. We want to eat good food. We don't want to be eating plastic and styrofoam and all those kinds of things. So I just want to say that what's really important is to be able to reach both into the downtown area, but also the work that and outreach that I think is planned for the west side, up and down Shrewsbury Avenue, lots and lots of restaurants, a lot of takeout that goes on there. So it'll be really important to have bilingual capacity to educate and inform, that part of town. So I'm really excited because I understand there's going to be some effort in that regard. And also the savings for the businesses is really quite substantial. Thousands of dollars a year, just in all of those little packets and forks and things like that. And I have spoken to some restaurant owners who would love to not give those things out. One of the challenges has been that, the Grubhubs and the Ubers and all that, Uber Eats, what happens is that they have a checkoff, but it's not a checkoff to get it, it's a checkoff to not get it. So I just wanted to let you know that we're working on that as well, because the restaurants would like to not give that stuff away because it could save them a lot of money. On another point is that my organization worked a lot around the state and in Newark on lead service lines. And when Sue brought it up, I just want to point out that there is a big issue that arose this week. Newark did a phenomenal job in replacing all 23,000 lead service lines in less than 3 years. And my organization helped in that effort. But they did just discover that one of the contractors started doing partial replacements, which actually is against state law. You have to do a full replacement from the curb to the meter in the house. And so I just want to make sure that there's due diligence and maybe some audits and some checks, because now Newark is having to go back and go through and make sure that, who has partial and who has full. And that's a lot of work and a lot of money. And Newark is determined to go and get whoever's did the wrong thing. But, and I know that, we have some contractors here. I don't know if it's just one who's doing all the work, but still, we should just keep an eye on it, because otherwise it's a big expense to the town or a big legal expense to try and go after the contractor for wrongdoing. So I just want to, I'm not saying that the contractor is doing wrongdoing. I just want you to just pay attention. Okay, that's all.
And as to your earlier point, if anybody needs any ketchup packets, just come to my house on John Street. I have about 3,000 in the fridge. I can't get rid of them. Thank you. Anyone else have any comments for agenda items only? Anyone online? Yeah, so.
Dennis O'Sullivan?
Okay, what did you say, Dennis?
Dennis O'Sullivan.
Dennis, if you're online,
Hello?
Yeah, there you go.
You can hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, thanks. Congratulations on how busy you guys have been. This is quite a large agenda tonight, but I'd just like to talk about ordinance.
Dennis, just state your address too.
Oh, sorry, 53 Wallace Street.
Thank you.
Which is in the Washington Street Historic District. So I'd like to talk about that ordinance. Just a general personal stance on it. I indicated when it was brought up in the past that that I feel that the whole concept of a HPC would make more sense if it were almost town-wide in an old town like Red Bank. The legacy districts feel somewhat arbitrary to me, and I feel that the intent of the HPC to retain like a character of the town would be better achieved by expansion of the districts. So I hope that the new committee will leverage their survey powers to include more of the town as time goes by. Otherwise, it feels like it would be less effective and just punitive for a small subset of residents, essentially. But besides that, I just wanted a couple of comments on the text of the thing. I'm not a lawyer, but there's some wording that could be misinterpreted, I think. Specifically, section 6, subsection E, subsection 1. It's basically a procedure when application for demolition or relocation is disapproved. And it says if the planning board disapproves the application to demolish or relocate a historic resource, the owner shall, for a period of 1 year, essentially make an effort to sell the property. That terminology, especially with the word shall, seems to preclude the applicant from just changing their mind and retaining the property and going about repairing it in an appropriate way. I presume that would be the intent of it, and if not, or if that is the intent, perhaps a rewording would be wise there. So it can't be read as the applicant absolutely must sell it if the demolition is declined. I mean, anytime a permit application is declined, you just change your plans and move on. So something for the board to consider, or the lawyer to consider. And within the same section E, subsections 2 and 3 are worded. They seem to apply to a situation where the application has been actually approved and not disapproved. So they probably should be in a separate section. So that's all. They're just a nitpicking comments. That's it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone else have any comments?
Agenda.
No, general, we know it. We'll get to those at the end. Right. Okay, can I have a motion to close the public comments on agenda items?
I'll make such a motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Let's do some governing. All right. We have minutes and reports to approve from 1/25/2024. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes from 1/25/24?
I'll make such a motion.
Have a second?
Second?
7 all in favor, or roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Forgot you were there, Laura. Okay, next up is some ordinances. First one is public hearing and adoption of 2024-02, a bond ordinance for providing for curb and sidewalk improvements along Monmouth Street in and for the borough of Red Bank in the county of Monmouth, state of New Jersey, appropriating $965,000. Therefore, including a $675,000 Safe Street to Transit grant from the state of New Jersey Department of Transportation, and authorizing the issuance of a $250,000 bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the costs thereof. Can I have a motion to open public hearing on this ordinance only?
So moved.
I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone have any comments on just this ordinance? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance only?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-02?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All right, already second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
Yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, next up, public hearing and adoption of 2024-03 ordinance amending Chapter 9 Boards, Committees, and Commissions and Chapter 490 Planning and Development Regulations to enhance the Historic Preservation Commission and to supplement the borough's regulations as to historic districts and historic sites. Just a note here that the tax bracket language has been removed from the ordinance.
Yes, as that was a suggestion. That was the only suggestion from the planning board's review of this document.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone have any comments on this ordinance only? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-03.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes.
This is the,
Historic preservation was making sure, right?
yeah, I'm planning to vote yes, and I just wanted to
To say that I've had a lot of input from residents, some of whom are in this room. I know it's a burden to be in the historic district, but it's been in Red Bank for some time. I've had I've spent a lot of time in the historic district, and it's one of the nicest neighborhoods in town. The issues are complicated. I think we have a nice balance in this ordinance. As mentioned earlier, we can tweak certain aspects of it later. This isn't necessarily, everything will be exactly the way it is now forever. I really am grateful to my council colleagues for putting so much work in it, particularly Christina Ornitakis. I have a little trouble with your last name sometimes.
Me too.
I think it actually was correct to pause this whole thing. I don't think we were ready when we were first elected to just sort of plunge into this whole thing. So I'm glad that we were patient and did our homework and then properly empowered the commission and were thoughtful in that process. I'm also grateful for the volunteers that have stepped up to be on the commission. So, anyway, I just wanted to make that comment. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you very much.
Mayor, I'd also like to make a comment.
Sure.
First off, I want to applaud Councilwoman Winitakis for her work on this. There are people who served municipalities for years before understanding how to build an ordinance, how to work with an attorney. The work that she did on this is unbelievable. We did hear the concerns from River Center and other people. We're grateful for the time we took meeting with them. I think one of the reasons is we have to take this first step. And then there's going to be design guidelines in place. And that's one of the reasons why this really did not function properly before. I know Christina had a lot of experience with the board as it used to exist. But once those design guidelines are in place, it's going to be very clear what is expected and there's going to be, like Christina stated so eloquently earlier, different processes for different levels of work. None of this was clear before. So I just can't thank you enough for putting something so solid together. Of course, reiterating again that anybody who wants to have a say in those guidelines and things, please be present at Historic Preservation Committee meetings. Have your say, be a part of that design guideline process, and make your voices heard. But we can't get to that point until we get past this point. So we can't, stress that enough. So well done, Christina.
Yes.
Yes.
Well done.
Okay, can we have I think we already got a second, right? Yes, so can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
Yes.
Councilmember Tracy Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Next up is public hearing and adoption of 2024-04, creating new chapter 46 pedestrian malls, memorializing the 2019 designation of a portion of Emmanuel Court as a permanent pedestrian mall, and designating a portion of Broad Street as a seasonal pedestrian mall. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing on this ordinance on?
Make such a motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anyone have any comments on this ordinance? Yes.
Could you speak in the microphone? Can't hear you.
She wants to hear context of it. Yes.
Linda Cohen, 20.
I seem to be a little active tonight. I'm not normally like,
Gotta start coming to every meeting.
but I'm gonna tell you, yes, I have a few things to take up here. In terms of the public mall, are we talking about on Broad Street here?
Broadwalk.
Well, there's two. There's two here. So one is,
Annual Court.
right.
So on Emmanuel Court, when English Plaza was redone, on West Front across from the Blue Cigar Club, bollards were put up as part of that project. You can't actually drive down there now. And we never actually designated it by ordinance.
Are we making it,
Existing for some period of time. What's that?
are we making this permanent?
This is the Emmanuel Court, not the Broadwalk.
Okay,
An annual two separate.
Also, the broad walk is being put into.
that's what I'm asking for.
That's
No,
correct.
no,
I knew what you wanted.
Right?
It's not.
Thank you.
But as far as the broad walk goes, all we're saying is that it's going to be seasonal, just like it always has been. But when we pass as an ordinance, we don't have to then pass a resolution every year to have the broad walk. So
Going to be every year?
it will be every year.
Been every year for 4 years.
Yeah.
Every year. I don't know that that's such a wonderful idea for everybody in the business district. Myself being in the business district, I don't see it as such a wonderful situation for Red Bank and for our downtown businesses. There are many businesses that are going out because of the broad walk situation. It's difficult to park. This isn't really what I was going to discuss tonight, but since I'm here, I want to make my feelings known about this. Having been a business in Red Bank for 25 years or more, I have a definite feeling about that. I come in contact with people every day that come from out of the area. And I noticed that there was a decrease in business in the area because of Broadwalk. And I don't know whether anybody has attempted to come from Rumson into Red Bank, but you might be aware that Google has actually directed people around Red Bank. And in directing people around Red Bank is going to suffer and the businesses are going to hurt. And not being able to get in and out of these businesses around Red Bank for that specified time frame becomes a major problem. I don't know that it has been beneficial. I see an awful lot of businesses coming in and out of business. And I don't know that takeout businesses, people can't drive in, they can't drive out. Sometimes the traffic is backed up all the way into Shrewsbury. It's virtually impossible to get through certain areas of Red Bank. And if you leave Red Bank at, 5 o'clock or anywhere in that vicinity, it can take you an extra 15 to 20 minutes to get through. Therefore, people are not coming through Red Bank. I think this is something that really needs to be considered a lot further. And I think that it should be discussed with the businesses in Red Bank that are affected by it. I being one of them. I mean, I've watched this now for years and I think it's not such a great idea. So before we just make it permanent, maybe we should think about this a little bit longer and a little bit harder. And what we want to do is, if we want to chase people out of Red Bank, we're doing a great job. It seems to me that it's a really uncomfortable situation for people that want to come into Red Bank and shop when the roads are closed. And we have a very few arteries that go in and out of Red Bank. And it's becoming more and more difficult because we have more and more infrastructure that seems to be being okayed by Red Bank. And that takes me to some of my other concerns. Code enforcement, I have noticed that.
We're gonna have to wait on the other concerns.
Okay.
But I just want to point out to you that in the months that we've had the broad walk,
yes,
even those specific months, our parking revenues have broken a record each year. So people are clearly coming and the concept behind it is in the summer months, we're not a beach town. We need to have a draw. And it seems that the broad walk has been effective in that.
But I will tell you, Mayor, there are many times, and I think that, having lived in Red Bank and work in Red Bank, there are many times that I walk down the street, Broad Street, and it's hot as hell and nobody's sitting there on the pavement. They're sitting at the beaches, and maybe because we're enforcing the parking in the evening, maybe people are coming in the evening, but during the day, it's definitely hurtful to the businesses downtown. I think we need to really consider all aspects of what's being done here.
Linda, I can assure you all aspects have been considered of what's being done here. I've been a part of this project since it started 5 years ago. I was the one that actually proposed the broad walk to the former administrator. I have been on the ground with this legislatively from the beginning. I go and I eat all around town. I go to all the businesses. I love iDesign. I send people to your business.
And I appreciate it.
I'm telling you, overall, this has been a success that actually put our town on the map. It is helping our economy, which helps our residents. There have been resident polls done in the online chatter groups and things of that nature, where 90% of people are supportive of it. I have met people who have moved to our town and chosen to raise their kids here because of visiting the Broadwalk and feeling that sense of community.
Okay.
Project, I'm telling you, the upsides are great. If you want me to get the word more out about your business, tell people to keep visiting you. That's what Bob's for. I'm on the ground. I will make sure that people understand where to get to your business.
But I have to tell you that we have studied this thing, we have looked at this thing. There have been traffic studies, there's been everything imaginable, there's been
OEM coordination.
we have done it.
We have done it and it's gonna keep getting better. And I have to tell you that it is here to stay.
Well,
It's here to stay.
Kate, I can appreciate what you're saying. I'm
Yes.
telling you from my personal experience with my customers coming in and out of my store, which they do.
Yes.
And I get people from many different areas besides Red Bank. And I'm grateful for that because it sustains me. I'm there for many, many years.
Yes.
But the bottom line is that it does ball traffic up for miles and sometimes for a very long time.
That's
And
not
it's
proven
very-
that it's from the Broadwalk.
I'm sorry, what?
That's not proven that it's from the Broadwalk. You cannot
Okay.
see traffic on the Broadwalk.
Well, if you can't get through the downtown, it definitely,
I understand and I hear your concerns, but like I said, I have been on the ground with this now. This is gonna be the 5th season. And I'm telling you that this is a good thing. It's backed by River Center. They're on the ground, they're taking the pulse.
I know it's backed by River Center.
Cover of the Monmouth County Tourism Guide. Red Bank has never had such a thing. That is boosting our economy. That makes this place more affordable for our residents. That makes it better for our businesses. It helps the whole ecosystem. We're here.
Realistically, you could have gone today down to Front Street at 5 o'clock and you can't get down Front Street and the Broadwalk's wide open. I mean, that's just the nature of it is we're at a it's got too many cars going through too small of an area. We're
Right.
unfortunately situated right on
Which brings me to the next thing, which I'll hold off. Hold off. It's not a problem, but I definitely wanted to address that. And Kate, I appreciate what you're saying,
Yes.
but I am asking for the same understanding where it is really a traffic issue. And sometimes the people that would come into Red Bank are saying that they're not coming into Red Bank. I hear that. You might not hear that, but I do because I get people from lots and lots of areas around. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Go get some glasses that I designed. Everybody.
Yes.
Immediately.
Anyone else have any comments on this ordinance only?
Oh, his wife needs glasses.
I think we'll be there.
No? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Hi.
Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2024-04?
So moved.
I'd like to make a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, sure.
Second first.
Well, can I have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
All right.
Somebody second it.
Go ahead, man.
So you and I have had conversations about this before, and I listened again tonight. And I've talked to River Center and I've talked to other businesses that don't like it. So I'm going to just start with the businesses that don't like it. I'm really unhappy that they don't like it. I wish I could say something to change their mind and some of the others that have yelled at me. It's mine. It's not, you're not by yourself. Buddy. I mean, River Center did a survey when I was serving on their board. And as I recall, it was about 7 in favor and about 3 against, something like that, which is, majority in favor of having that, the Broadwalk, but that's still a lot of businesses that don't like it for whatever reason. Okay, and that it means something to me. I would much rather it be less than that. I struggle and hear from residents with traffic myself. But it's closed now. There's no Broadwalk right now, and I get stuck in traffic now. I mean, it goes all the way down Shrewsbury Avenue. It's been all the way from Food Town to downtown. There is a huge problem with just too much traffic in this little town. We're also surrounded by communities that we don't have any say over what they approve and and they send traffic to us. We send traffic to them. And when I'm walking like tonight from my house to Shrewsbury Avenue, I would say the majority of cars on Shrewsbury Avenue are probably just passing through Red Bank, not going anywhere in Red Bank. So, you know, I've struggled with it. I will say personally, and my family, and my wife is here, I think she'll agree with me. If she doesn't, she will come up and let me know. I really think that has improved the quality of life at Broadwalk. It has made Red Bank more attractive. I know that my town, my family, I know people on my street that are downtown more than they used to be. I mean, there's not a lot downtown for me to spend money on. I have financial encumbrances. I would love to buy glasses at your store, but we go to Costco. And, you know,
Yeah, it creates a community downtown experience.
I'm there much more now than I used to be. Now I still go to the diner as opposed to most of the restaurants on the Broadwalk.
The diner?
I do go to the diner occasionally.
Haven't heard.
Yeah. But I love that. It's nice to have that area. It's nice not to hear the traffic. You know, I realize one of the things, you know, when I'm sitting there and there's activities and there's bands playing and there's hundreds and there's sometimes thousands of people there on a Friday and Saturday night. I don't remember that like on a typical Friday in the summer before the Broadwalk. I mean, that thing draws a lot of people to our town. And I think I moved to a town because I wanted a healthy downtown. I wanted businesses like yours to walk to. I want to be part of that. And so we have to kind of, I think, do that. And I think that actually Red Bank was kind of a little bit of ghost town during the summer months.
Yeah.
And this has definitely made Red Bank rocking, but that also does create other problems. And I'm not naive about it. It has needed some tweaking and the administration has done some tweaking. We may have to make more adjustments to it going forward. I love the activities. I think that, the more bands and various activities and things for people to do down there for everyone is a great thing, whether it's hopscotch. So,
Yeah.
And it's powerful. And I have many friends who are coming to Red Bank on a regular basis in large part because of that. So I will be voting yes, and I do support it. And it is painful on some levels because I know some businesses that insist to me that it hurts them, and maybe it does on some level and to some extent. I do hear the traffic thing a lot, but I do think the traffic is basically a red herring. We have a traffic problem, whether that Broadwalk is open or not. Does it add a little bit? Maybe at times it does add some. But, we're still going to get, I don't know, probably 100,000 cars passing through our town a day. That's my comment, Mr. Mayor.
I probably was over the 5-minute limit. I think way over. It wasn't even close.
Thanks, Councilman.
Can I make a brief comment as well?
Sure.
Just right off of Mechanic Street, I've been,
As a member of the Looking Ladder, I've had an up close and personal view of how this has evolved, and last year was by far the best year. I anticipate this year to be the best year. I anticipate the year after that to be the best year. And I just want to say to those who, I've known that there are some folks on Mechanic that have parking issues, and we have some assurances. We're going to do our best this year to bring in specials and to increase enforcement down Mechanic Street and around the Broadwalk. And any hesitation I had was quickly allayed in my very kind and direct conversations with my council colleagues and the administrator. And it just has gotten better. And last year was by far the best, and I expect this one to have succeeded. So I'm here in support, and I just wanted to reiterate that we've had those enforcement conversations, and we have high hopes that we'll be able to track some in this year. It's a hard market out there for specials, so I don't want to create an impossible task for you, Jim, as well. But we're doing our best as early as we can, and thank you for that.
So you have a motion and a second?
What's that?
You have a motion and a second?
Yeah, we already have that. We just need to.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
yes.
Councilmember Facey Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
She's here.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman?
Yes.
I'm happy about that one.
Next up, public hearing and adoption of 2024-06, amending chapter 64 Fire Department to increase the borough's annual contribution and implement annual inflation adjustments to its length of service awards program for volunteer firefighters and first aid squad members. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing on this ordinance only?
So
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Myself and I abstain.
Okay,
I also abstain, recuse, abstain.
does anyone have any comments on this ordinance? No, anyone online, Jim?
So
I have a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance only.
So moved?
Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-06?
I'll make that motion.
Can I have a second?
Second on the closing of the hearing.
What's that?
And second
Oh,
on the closing
sorry.
of public comment.
Second on the closing of the hearing, we got that? All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Now a motion to adopt, can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-06?
Sure.
Have a second?
Second. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Christina.
All right. Do a roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
Recuse.
Councilmember Facy Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes, and I'm so grateful for our volunteers and all that you do, and these things that we do to help, I think are appreciated and necessary.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Recused.
Mayor Portman?
Yes. Next up, public hearing and adoption of 2024-07, amending chapter 680, vehicles and traffic to create a loading zone on Oakland Street near Maple Avenue to ensure safe student drop-off and pickup at Red Bank Borough preschool facilities. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone? No? All right, can I have a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance only?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-07?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Oh, no, you got a roll call it. It's on a roll it.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
Yes.
Councilmember Facy Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman?
Yes.
Wonderful.
So Nancy, this one, we're gonna table this right now and workshop it in a little bit.
Correct.
Okay, so we're,
Say that motion to table?
Yes, yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
can I have a motion to table 2024-08?
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're gonna workshop that. It was a little overambitious.
Mayor, can we talk about it now? That's why we're
Um,
workshopping it? We can have a discussion. Okay, so
can we save it just for discussion and action? We'll do it a little bit and we're just gonna, because we have one more ordinance, then the resolutions, and then we'll just jump to it.
we do? Oh, yeah. All right, no problem. All right. I'm
Okay.
ready.
Next up is an introduction of 2024-09 capital ordinance providing for site remediation at Sunset Park in the Borough of Red Bank, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $217,140 to pay for the cost thereof, which amount will be funded by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection Hazardous Discharge Site Remediation Fund Grant, received or expected to be received by the borough. Once again, Jimmy, nothing's happening here other than passing an ordinance authorizing that money, and we will get letters in mailboxes ASAP. You're welcome. Can I have a motion to approve on introduction?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
Yes.
Councilmember Facy Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Yes.
Mayor Portman?
Yes. In the resolutions, we already did the one for, we did,
Hearing February
oh yeah, I'm
27th.
sorry, yeah, there'll be a public hearing on that, on 2024-09 on February 22nd. Thank you. You poked me, that was a little unnecessary. All right, we already approved 24-44. Is there any other resolutions that need to be done separately, or can we do them on the consent agenda? Anyone have any? Okay, so then can I have a motion to approve resolutions 24-39 through 24-48 with the exception of 24-44?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Bonatakis?
Yes.
Councilmember Cassidy?
Yes.
Councilmember Faisy Blackwood?
Yes.
Councilmember Forrest?
Yes.
Councilmember Janone?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Trigiano?
Yes.
And Mayor Portman.
Yes. Okay, discussion and action, Nancy. I'll turn it back over to you for the
Okay,
the amendment we were talking
sure. Regarding, ordinance 2028 to,
about. 4-8.
2024-08, thank you, to work on the skip the stuff ordinance. Greg, you did a really wonderful job, but I think you were,
Overlording.
yeah, you were overwording it, yes. So, I did send to you exactly what we were looking for, and I'm gonna read it so it gets into the record. This would be an amendment to section 492-3 of our municipal code. And it has polystyrene, plastic foam, disposable food serviceware prohibited. I would recommend that we move section C to call it section D, create a new section C that will say single-use utensils, condiment packets, napkins, or extra containers to take out or delivery customers are prohibited unless requested by the customer. I pulled this out of the New York ordinance. These two other bullets I'm going to read. It says online ordering and delivery apps must be set to a default of not providing these items unless the customer selects an option to request these items. Delivery and courier services may not provide these items unless such items are requested by the customer. And then there's a note to clarify that these restrictions do not apply to self-service stations inside a food service establishment. So if you go to Surf Taco and you're going to take your stuff to go, you can pick up whatever they have out there for you to pick up, or any other restaurant that has that option. Does anyone have any comments?
No, seems super straightforward, level-headed. You can still get the stuff if you request it. So if it's needed, you can still get it.
Yeah.
Which, I think, and it's gonna reduce a ton of waste, and the restaurants are not gonna be spending money on things that we then spend the money out as a municipality.
Right.
Getting processed to the landfill. So sounds good to me.
Yeah, Ben.
I just wanted to thank the Environmental Commission and you for such an excellent ordinance, and I was very honored to NBC came and did that interview and gave us some attention, again, leading the way. And clean water action, I appreciate it. I don't think there's a conflict, but I'm on an advisory board there, of clean ocean action.
Yeah, you're okay. That's specifically
Good.
general legislation. You're okay.
Right. I also would like to thank Clean Water Action to coming to Red Bank, and we like to be like one of the first of things. We were a little bit annoyed that Cranford did this from the get-go, but we'll give them a pass. And yeah, thank you for sharing the information, and we do hope to make it happen. Just so you know, the Environmental Commission did meet Tuesday, and they were looking to have this with an effective date of April 22nd, as it is Earth Day. So, reducing waste on Earth Day would actually be a good look. And they've created a flyer that will be translated into English and Spanish. And they have a campaign where they will be walking like we did for the plastic bag ban. They'll be walking Shrewsbury, Monmouth, Broad, basically where the businesses are, to educate the businesses that these changes are. And we're hoping with our borough and the communication that they would send an e-blast to residents so that they're aware. And my junk drawer would thank you if this passes. Yes.
Better. All right, good.
So that'll be on for vote at
Right,
the
so
next
it'll be on
meeting,
for
what we
introduction.
discussed.
Introduction,
Yeah.
next meeting.
February 26th.
Mr. Mayor, I need to take a 3-minute break.
Okay. Mind if we keep it
I'll be
on?
right back.
We have a bunch of special events too.
Sorry, did you have a?
I just had one quick.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Okay, come on. Just a quick question. Because it was asked by one of, this question in the original ordinance was asked by one of our businesses, but now it's going to be revised. But the question was, can the restaurant ask the customer if they want utensils?
That's the way the straw ordinance was intended to be enforced by request would.
By request.
Could ask, I mean,
They could ask,
They can ask.
can ask.
So it doesn't have to be initiated by the customer. It could be initiated by.
Right, okay, so we could, that phrase, right, Greg?
Yeah, so the end of the, oh, you're getting some
that's
pushback.
okay, you can come up to the microphone and tell us.
So if that were to,
How about you come up at the
If
same
that
time?
were to be implemented, it would say unless requested by the customer, Cranford ordinance actually has more, better language for
Okay,
noting what the business can ask
okay,
there in that regard.
sure.
Amy has something to say. Let's get it all out.
What are we doing? We're booting Bob and.
No,
Putting me?
You're gonna.
No, you
Oh, we're gonna do a joint. Okay.
3 minutes needs to
Just,
go.
What was it? Were we done?
Yeah.
William and Buckley debated. This will be good. Go ahead, Amy.
Well, I think that what we need to be doing is we need to be training customers to ask if they really want something. See, the reason why the straw issue doesn't work as well as we would like is because imagine if you were a person who had been waiting tables for 20 years and your automatic reflex was to always give a straw. It will continue to just like kind of pull that straw out of your apron and keep giving it to you. But if we train people who are the customers to actually have to ask for the straw, then we could be training both the customer and the person who is serving. So anytime somebody says, oh, do you want something? The knee-jerk reaction is always going to be, sure, it's free or it comes with it, rather than training people, the customers, to actually request it. So I would really strongly urge us to have an ordinance that says the customer has to request. And that we do our good work of educating so that people ask. And you can even have signage,
Yeah.
you know, in a
Right.
restaurant,
Yeah.
which, you know, we've done in Asbury and other places about, you know, do you really need a straw or do you ask for, you know, because some people come in to pick up their stuff. So instead of putting it in automatically or automatically asking, you could have small signage.
Yeah.
But don't go out of your way to be asking people for stuff because then they will take it and it will cost the restaurants money and it will get stuck in our gutters and, you know, all that kind of stuff. You can't recycle this stuff. You know, it's just, all it does is muck up the works, you know?
So I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
My request would be, now, I know you're looking for an April 22nd start date.
It would be
Because of
wonderful.
Earth Day. But my experience, my former experience in South Orange, when I ran the downtown in South Orange, and we passed the town passed a plastic bag ban before they did, right? Was that we did several months worth of outreach.
Yes.
And communication.
No, I
So
understand.
if you want to have it start on April 22nd, I would respectfully ask, can we wait a little while longer for enforcement of this?
So you'd want there to be a sunrise provision.
That would be helpful.
Could write a sunrise provision.
We did it last time,
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be extremely helpful so that it gives not just the environmental committee time to educate the restaurants, gives us time to assist you in that process.
But you can still do a kickoff, you can still
You can still
announce
do
it, you
yeah,
can still
I have.
your business is
I have-
doing the right thing. So
Yeah.
that's all good.
Yeah.
Just don't make it too long. Don't make it a year, you know, just make it a couple of months, you know. a
Yeah,
month or so.
Right.
Nice work, guys.
Yeah.
So a sunrise provision, you can put signage up.
Wait.
What else?
So we make it effective 4/22, but with enforcement to start a couple months later. That's,
That would be
Yeah.
my request.
Right.
okay.
Just don't want to go too deep into the summer because that's when, you know, people are going to be using a lot of stuff. So
Right.
Start Broadwalk.
vacation, you know, months or so.
How about that?
Okay.
Maybe a month.
Yeah, keep kicking it.
So if we have effective the
April 22nd.
April 22nd, how much more time do you need? 2 months?
2 months.
Okay, so effective April 22nd,
July 1 or whatever,
It's the beginning of the.
July 1st. I'll give you 8 more days.
that would be very much appreciated.
Okay.
Okay?
Espen?
Thank you, guys.
Yes, I just wanted to comment, I probably said this while I was.
The
one of the things I also like is I'm hoping it will reduce some of the litter we have downtown, because that's also another cost for us.
Yes,
And there was a lot, I was just walking around downtown with you the other day.
napkins, yeah.
There's a lot of these little ketchup packages and all the rest of this stuff all over the place, which costs us not only money to send to the landfill, but a lot of labor to
Yes,
just clean up around the town, and it's hard.
right,
And not to mention getting in the drains and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
yeah.
all right.
Cool.
All right, anyone else?
Sounds like a plan.
All right,
Oh, look at.
Put it
all
out.
right, we got it.
All right, you missed the handshake.
You want us to you?
You're just gonna shake hands a lot. If you happen to catch one, that's great. Okay,
Okay.
special events, we have a bunch of them. I'll read through it and then we'll vote to approve. Monmouth Daycare Touch a Truck, Red Bank Middle School, Saturday, May 2nd from 10 to 2. The Shrewsbury Avenue AME Zion Church Sankofa Soul Food Fest, Saturday, June 22nd from noon to 6. New Jersey Friends of Clearwater Festival, Saturday, August 31st and Sunday, September 1st. Let's hope it's a little cooler than it was last year. Red Bank Public Library International Festival, August 2024. Parks and Rec, the Spring Egg Hunt on 3/17/24 with a rain date of 3/24/24 at Count Basie Park. Parks and Rec Pride in the Park, 6/8/24 with a rain date of 6/9/24. I think that's at Riverside Gardens, right? And then the Juneteenth celebration on 6/16/24. Can I have a motion to approve all these special events?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Linda, you're up. You've been so patient. Kick us off. Public comments and questions. Can I have a motion to open the floor for public comments and questions? Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, I just want to make sure nobody's going to shoot at me here.
Never.
Never.
We love hearing your comments.
Okay, oh,
Yes.
okay.
And just again,
So what you say about the
state your name and your address.
Okay, I am Linda Cohen, 28 Riverside Avenue, Red Bank. And I have a few things that I would like to address. The first thing I'm concerned about is the actual infrastructure that we have in Red Bank. And I noticed that we have an amazing amount of building with a lot of units coming into town. We have, as a few people have mentioned tonight, we have an unbelievable amount of traffic going in and out, and we all agree on that. And I'm concerned for the future in terms of how much infrastructure this nice little old town can take. I love it here. I've lived here for over 20 years. I don't want to see it change, but I know that it's going to develop. And as it does develop, I'm concerned about our ability to maintain a high level of quality in terms of how we live, in terms of the actual quality of the infrastructure of the city, in terms of the, you spoke about the pipes. That's one aspect of it, the roads, the arteries, the ability to get in and out. In terms of the parking, okay, I know we're busy with parking. I just want the council to be, and I know this is more zoning and planning. I mean, I've been on planning, I understand that. But it seems to me that there's an awful lot of infrastructure coming into town. And I think that there needs to be a lot more attention paid to the other aspects of what this town can become with the crowding. I mean, we all love to have a nice walking town, and I'm sure we need to have the revenue for the city desperately. We need it. And thus, I think the downtown needs to prevail. And I think all of those things are important, but I just want to reiterate that it's an old town and it has a very old structure. I mean, we suffered desperately through having the downtown redone, I think a couple times, which I won't go into. Everybody knows that's a sore spot here. What it did to Broad Street and the downtown was really difficult. That's one aspect, and I'll let that go because I just wanted to touch on it. The other aspect is code enforcement. That is very much of a concern to me. I called and I spoke to the chief in reference to how clean we have our city. And the more that I walk downtown, the more I realize I'm seeing a lot more graffiti in town. We're talking about trash, I'm seeing trash, but I'm seeing also a lot of people that disrespect the downtown. And then I'm seeing a lot of empty structures. And one of my questions to this council is that when we have these areas where people are not doing whatever it is that they're going to do, what they've been approved to for the planning and zoning, how long are we expected to live in an area where there are gas stations that are empty? And how long can we sit and look at these horrible sites that are filthy, and that maybe somebody wants to hang a billboard on and collect their money and kind of just rape our downtown? I hate to put it like that, but that's how I'm starting to feel. There are many people coming into our downtown and they want to do what they want to do, and then they carry themselves away from Red Bank. Red Bank is a beautiful little town. We all love this. It's a wonderful little quality city. And as Kate said, it definitely draws attention and people love it, including me. And that's why I live here. And that's why I like my business here. But there are things that I have noticed, and I think that I want to bring to the attention of the council. And I think these things need to be heeded, and they need to be understood that what are we going to do about the code enforcement? What are we going to do about gas stations that stay for years? When I was on the planning board, and I don't even want to tell you how many years ago that was, and I'm looking at the same structures and nothing's going on. At what point do we say you must do something? Either you have to improve it. I mean, I don't know what the plan is, but I think that we shouldn't leave things for 20 years or 10 years or however long we're leaving them. And then somebody makes a deal and sticks a billboard up and really disrespects our town. And some of these areas in our town are entrances to our town. And they don't say the right thing about what Red Bank is. So I just wanted to bring that up. This has been bothering me. And so this was my perfect opportunity. I appreciate all of your indulgence. And I hope that you will consider what I'm bringing to your attention as a serious concern for all of us. We all want a quality of life here, and that's why we're here. And what I see happening is frightening to me. So it's just a beginning. And I just think that if we don't head it off now, I think at some point we're going to be sorry. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda.
Good evening.
Appreciate it. Regina,
That's my bedtime.
thank you for your patience too, Linda.
Hi, Georgina.
Hi, Georgina.
Good evening. So I just have a question.
Just name and address.
Okay, my name is Georgina Shanley, 115 Harding Road, Red Bank. And I want to ask everybody, who do they love more, Linda or me? You seem to be in love with Linda, and I wonder, I'll take a poll. Who do you love more?
Love you just the same.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're a politician.
Yes.
No,
I just really like people, I'm gonna be honest, or else I wouldn't be doing this anymore.
all right. So, I'm here to appeal to you once again to consider passing a resolution to stop the bombing in Gaza and in Israel, to release all of the hostages that are in dungeons under Gaza, and to allow full humanitarian aid. Since in New Jersey, in Passaic County, we had Patterson, Haldon Borough, and Prospect Park all passed resolutions calling for a ceasefire. This one. And since we're all taxpayers, and 92% of the weapons being used are made in the United States. And so we do have a vested interest in it in Red Bank. Since January 26th, when the International Court of Justice
called on Israel to stop bombing civilians, we've had over 1,000 people killed, many of them children. In the last 24 hours, 130 people have been killed, 120 injured. And in Rafah, right now, where, you know, it's a link with Egypt, there are 1.2 million people sheltering there because they were forced there by Israel for safety, and now they're being bombed. I think we as human beings and as citizens of the world have to do something. So if this resolution could be passed, all it does is it goes to our congressional leaders who represent us, our senators, and to Biden to call for an end to the bombing, release of hostages, and full humanitarian aid. Since October 7th, Israel has dropped 29,000 bombs, devices, 29,000. In Iraq, for 6 years, between 2004 and 2010, 3,678 bombs versus 29,000 in a few months. You know, when is it going to end? I mean, the whole world, we've all the humanitarian groups, the human rights groups, everybody is calling for a ceasefire. And if we're to wait, like Ms. Blackwood said, until Biden finalizes a ceasefire, God knows it could be a year, it could be never, because Netanyahu just said, we're never going to have it until all of Hamas is gone. So I really appeal to you to bring it up for a vote, see how people will vote on it, and see how the community will come together over it, because it's the right thing to do.
Georgina, again, thank you for your comments. I think I said everything last meeting. Yeah, I feel like I addressed this. My opinion hasn't changed. I thank you again for coming here and advocating.
So my only question is this the normal process that the mayor is the gatekeeper of any of these introduction of resolutions?
Anyone's welcome to speak.
So any of the council elected representatives of the people can speak? Is it a herd mentality that if one goes this way, everybody goes that way?
I mean, I said it last time, you know, microphone, Ben.
Mike.
I'm here in my capacity elected to
serve the borough.
And I have my own views, as you know. I don't know that doing this will help. It'll be very divisive for the town. It'll be probably divisive up here. I don't want to speak for anybody else. So
I wanted the violence to
stop myself personally, but I'm not up here personally. I'm here as, you know, for all the people in Red Bank. And if we were to ever do something like this, it would have to be a much more thorough process than just here tonight. I don't want to encourage you necessarily to come every meeting, but you can, of course. And I do listen to you, and you know, I'm horrified by what's going on many levels in Israel and Gaza and all those other places you mentioned and some that you didn't mention. And I think was Union City also passed something? I could be wrong. I think I saw that this month today. But I do appreciate you coming up, and I'm certainly listening to you. And thank you for your time.
Well, you can only deal with your conscience, and I can only deal with my conscience. And I'll definitely be back, and maybe somebody will have a great insight into what's really going on, and how would you like your children to be without arms and legs or killed? with nobody standing up for them. I have nothing to gain personally from this. I'm not a politician. I'm here because I'm a human being. And if I were in a position like you're in, I would definitely vote for this, regardless of what the mayor or anybody else is saying. It will bring the town together if it's voted upon and when it's voted upon. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Georgina.
Thank you, Georgina.
Yes, Freddie.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Freddie Boynton, P.O. Box 2074. Mayor, Councilman, just want to thank the Red Bank Police for Saturday. We had one of the brothers pass up at the lodge, and the police came up and escorted the funeral service. It was outstanding, and we just want to say thank you to the Red Bank Police. The other thing I got, he passed the ordinance for unhooked trailers. Did we or did we not?
We did.
Well, we still have some on Leonard Street sitting there. Seem like they just disrespecting y'all order. Yesterday, two things happened to me. I had an incident in Tenant Falls, and a car was parked on the wrong side of the road. My granddaughter almost hit the car, but good thing she didn't. Tenant Falls cop came. He said we give tickets when cars parked on the wrong side of the road. So that's what you're supposed to do. We've been getting a lot of that here in Red Bank.
Yeah.
We've been getting a lot in Red Bank. Cops riding by, not giving tickets. I asked him, what about trucks? He said, Freddie, how long you been living in Tenant Falls? We have an ordinance, no commercial vehicles parked on the streets. Tenant Falls have it. He said, that's why you don't see no trailers. People who got companies' trucks, people who have a business, they're not allowed to park them on the street. Red Bank have an ordinance. I'm going way back. They should bring it back up. It's in there. No commercial vehicles on the streets. We're getting terrible with them around here, parking on the streets. It's outrageous. Yesterday, I was coming down Layton Avenue. Bus was coming up Layton Avenue, right there at River Street. Bus put his lights on. Sign came out, I stopped. Kids was getting off the bus. Lady came from River Street, right across between me and the bus. I'm asking y'all councilman. Well, kid get hurt. I have 100 signatures on the petition. We need a four-way stop sign there. They're coming off of Shrewsbury Avenue, going straight down to the primary school, and they're not stopping right there at River Street. They're going straight across. It had several accidents. I'm asking y'all councilmen tonight, next council meeting.
Just to be clear, four-way stop you're asking for at River and Layton?
Yep.
Right.
River and Layton. And I have a petition, I got 100 signatures on it. I'm asking councilman, the next councilman, you need to put it on your agenda, get it done. A kid gonna get killed. We done had some serious accidents there. It's a school there, and that's where they go back and forth. We have to do something with these trailers. Unhooked trailer in the street is sitting there.
Yes, Greg, what is the, I mean, we ticket them now, right? What is our next, what's the next step then? If you just tell them? And can we, are we able to?
I don't want to speak for the police department. They obviously have procedures for that, right? Yeah, the next step after ticketing is for repeat offenders is still.
All right.
So, I'm just saying, this trailer been there when this ordinance was passed, and I mean, what, we just keep giving them tickets, or what's?
That's what I was just trying to clarify. I guess we have to,
But they tell.
we got to speak to the chief and see.
Yeah, I've spoken to the chief recently about this, and
He's advised that
they have been out ticketing.
through their traffic division, so.
You know, the next thing is obviously looking for compliance and things like that, which it sounds like we're not getting compliance, but
That would be the next step, is seeing
what we can do.
beyond just ticketing. I mean, sometimes it's
It's a little bit different than
towing a car. So we have to see what the mechanism is to
tow an actual unhitched trailer, but they have been out ticketing.
But if you go back, look at the ordinance. No commercial vehicles. That's right there. That's, you know, I guess y'all don't want to go back and look at the ordinance, but it's there. It's there. You know, what I mean, y'all got to do something. I mean, because if you lag along, it's getting worse and worse and worse.
You know, one of the things that we talked about, even with the unhitched trailers is trying to find a place in Red Bank where they can park those trailers and, you know, pay and get a permit and get them off the road. Which we have not had much luck with. I'm still trying to get a hold of the pastor from the church on River Street, you know, the one down as you're going down towards the school. So if you have a contact for me as well, that would be great. But yeah, we always intended to do this in 2 steps. The first steps was the unhitched trailer. The next was some sort of commercial vehicle legislation. And it's, what's that?
The commercial vehicle legislation is a little more complicated.
Yeah, so it's just, it's on our radar already. It won't be done by the next meeting,
But how can, don't get me wrong, how can, you know, I hear what you're saying. But how can it be so complicated when you have an ordinance already was passed years ago, commercial vehicles, and Tinton Falls still have it from when Red Bank had it, and they still are forcing the ordinance. Commercial vehicles. I mean,
I'm gonna have to take a look. I didn't think, the reason we were discussing is because we did not have a commercial vehicle ordinance.
we got, I didn't mean to cut you off. We have people's actually bringing big trucks home that they working for a company. They actually bringing them home and they parking them on the streets. Now here you is have a fire. How in the world you gonna get the fire truck past the big truck down the streets?
Freddie, I'm not denying that it's an issue. I know it's an issue.
We got to, look, y'all, we got to do something about it. And I just hope y'all put the stop sign, discount speeding on the agenda, so we can get that done before a child get hurt.
Thank you, Freddie.
Yes. For that.
Yeah, let's go 25 Cedar Street.
And.
Deja vu.
Sorry about that. I was just rethinking that to what Freddie said. I think there was a grant to address the issue at River and Layton for safe routes to school. I kind of remember it being passed late last year. So it's just a matter of taking a look at that and seeing what we can do.
Yeah, have an update for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll have an update next meeting. Sorry about that.
No problem. Again, it's deja vu. Years and years, we've been talking about this for 15 years, even longer, about enforcement. I mean, when I go and drive like an Oceanport, you know, you don't speed in Oceanport. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You don't speed, you stop, every time you don't do anything. Because they enforce it. You come through here, I mean, I had pictures right in front of here. There's a car parked the wrong way. And I went to an event at the library at the evening, no ticket, and when I came back, still no ticket. Right in front of the police station, parked the wrong way. I mean, that's where the cops come in and out. I mean, I don't understand. I think the cops do what they can do, but if you're saying it's the parking authority that does it, well, are they working at night when the Count Basie's open, having events? I mean, enforcement, that's the bottom line. I mean, if we all enforce the rules, everyone should follow it, and there's repercussions, right? You would have accountability, and they will stop doing it. You see, like I mentioned earlier, you have cars parked, so you can't make left and right turns because you're using visibility. I've come down because my wife almost got hit a few times trying to go to work. I mean, enforcement, it's simple. I see the cop cars, I watch it on my video camera. I see them going up and down the street, and I see them looking, because on my street, there's cars that do park the wrong way, and the cop just go. I've never really seen a car that said the parking authority cars or the on my street. I look at my cameras every day. I didn't see one with that stripe on my, I mean, and the proof is in the pudding. We talked about the snow. I know back in the day at other council meetings, we used to get some metrics. How many tickets were given out? How many tickets were given out for cars during the snowstorm? They said they enforced it, so I would hope it's a big number. I just got my dog license done. I was number 55. You're supposed to get it done by the end of February unless you get a fine for being late. There's only 55 dogs in this town? Really? Really? Where's the enforcement? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, it should, and the Animal Welfare Committee was talking for years, trying to get it to be online, so you can do it online, submit your paperwork and get your license online, so it's easy for compliance. But only 55 dog licenses as of last Thursday were issued? Come on. Where's the enforcement? Who enforces that? And then you have a lot of dogs and I'll be honest with you, my side, there's poop everywhere. Who enforces that? I mean, I got a video. Who do I give it to? I got somebody pooping on my lawn. Where's, you used to go down and control.
Code enforcement, right? Well, there's a provision for a dog sensor.
Wait, what are you saying?
Right. If she has a video of someone not cleaning up after their dog, right, again, doesn't that go to code enforcement? Yeah.
But I mean, it comes back to enforcement. If everyone just follows the rules. But again, this is deja vu. I think many people in the audience here and you're not here have been down this road talking about it. Another thing I wanted to bring up was, and I brought it up in the past, and we're talking about these little initiatives about, the plastics and the food and everything. I think we need lids, garbage cans and recyclables. It's amazing when I walk my dogs, all the bottles that I get, because it's a bad windy day, when we're by the water, there's windy days. The stuff that gets falling out because you pile it up too high. I mean, the plastic bottles all over the streets are ridiculous. I believe you're supposed to have a lid, so you don't have that. What's the point of taking the bottle, putting it in the recyclable bin, hopefully it gets picked up, but then the wind gets blown and it's all over the floor. I mean, it's counterintuitive because then it's more trash on the ground. I mean, I think we should invest in, I know some people have lids that blow away. Trust me, that's why I go buy a new can and I get the blue one when it's attached. Maybe when we have the yellow cans, maybe there's another initiative we can give people lids who don't have lids or give them 2 cans because they're overflowed. But it's, it's a good idea, but I think we worry about the big picture and everything, but let's help people just do the everyday stuff. I think lids on garbage cans and on recyclable bins are important. I even see people that don't even put their trash in a can. They put it in a plastic bag on the street. There's a lot of raccoons and cats and stuff, and they're hungry. And then I see them making a hole in the bag. And then what happens again? Because I thought the rule is you're supposed to put the garbage bags in a can. I would think that's common sense. So then the trash doesn't go on the floor. We have more trash on the ground and it's a cycle. So yes, we have all these cool things. You want to say, great, we did this and we're the first to do that. Let's just do everyday stuff. Let's do common sense stuff. I don't know why. Common sense enforce, common sense put garbage in a can, common sense, let's enforce that. A little common sense will go a long way. We're not bonding stuff or spending money or anything. Enforce. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Anyone online, Jim?
No, sir.
Right, can I have a motion to close the public comments?
So moved.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, mayor and council, actually, Jim, why don't you give your report first? You wanna give your manager? You wanna do it at the end? Okay, all right, so,
Go over something, cross it off.
mayor and
Alright.
council comments. Christina, you got anything?
You're looking at me, sure.
Yeah.
Just one little thing. So I don't know if I've expressed before, but I'm a bit of a transportation and mobility nerd. So I just wanted to share with residents something I saw that's going on right now. Monmouth County, in cooperation with the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, is conducting Monmouth Paths Access for All. It's a survey which seeks to identify and develop measures to mitigate barriers to equitable mobility. So that includes all residents of Monmouth County, including low income, minority, elderly, young, and disabled groups. I just wanted to encourage all Red Bank residents to participate if they can. There's a virtual meeting on February 12th that you can find online, as well as ongoing input being taken. It's bit.ly/Monmouth Paths, or you can Google NJTPA Monmouth Paths. It's really cool. There's a map and you get to comment on specific thoughts. So I do hope that we'll see some input from Red Bank. Thank you.
Mr. Gansey.
Hey, couple brief things.
And I see Mr. Donahue in the audience. I caught your video from the fire department, the chinchilla being brought over. And I just want to acknowledge just the continued efforts of our broad Red Bank community to always support other community members. And TJ Moss over at Vincent Feathers donated, helped the little girl from the Spring Street fire adopt a new chinchilla. And it's remarkable in this sense in that TJ just lost his father as well. So it comes right on the heels of a tremendous family loss. And he supporting a community member still, and it just makes me just, I don't know, there's just always so much good around us to look to, and
I saw it with Mr. Moss's actions.
on behalf of it and the continued efforts of various members of the fire department to support those community members and our local media for highlighting those kinds of stories, and I just appreciate it. And this is my early regrets that I will not be attending next meeting as I have my final foray into the law school moot court
Competition. I will be at the APA regionals, where I will be
be speaking about the ills of SNAP removal under
1441 B2.
to Mr. Cannon. So
Least favorite part of law school, so good luck.
This is year 3, and I'm starting to wonder why I went for 3 years.
years, but you know, as the only 3-year member of the team, I'm actually kind of tickled that I get one last shot and one last bite at the apple, but I'm appreciative of everyone's understanding that.
I graduate soon, and that's the end.
So gonna take my one last crack.
Awesome.
Good luck.
Good luck. Thank you. Oh.
Well, as mentioned earlier, the EC is looking to have their annual Green Fair partnering with the middle school as we've done in the past. They're reaching out to the
vendors and getting activities and everything geared up. And this year, they agreed that they were going to have the event on actual Earth Day, which is Monday, the 22nd of April between 5 and 7. We talked about the skip to stop ordinance that came from the EC. So they had recommendations and, you know, thank you all for allowing us to have that workshop here. The other thing the EC is looking to do is there is a borough-owned small piece of property at the westernmost end of West Side Avenue. And in the past, the EC has been given permission and they would like to put a pollinator garden there. And Mr. Manager, I did send you an email with what the EC is requesting. So when you get a chance, take a look, see. Shade Tree would like to report that seedlings were coming this year. I don't have the exact date off the top of my head as to when they'll be picked up, but expect to hear an announcement if you're interested in planting a tree on your property. So hopefully they'll go for native trees because, you know, with our environment, we want to keep our plants and trees as local as possible. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Hey, Lori, you got anything?
Yeah, okay, yeah. The animal welfare met just the other night. They had one question. I know we're gonna be doing some work on Marine Park. I didn't know the timeline on that. Maybe we don't know. But we had scheduled dog days for September 7th and they were wondering if we should move it out of Marine Park if it's gonna be work being done. So I'm not quite sure about that. The other thing is we talked about chemicals on lawns that would hurt animals. Thanks to Jim, our business manager, for giving us some local towns that had adopted these ordinance. And the other day, animal welfare was meeting at the same time as environmental. And I know Paulo and Paul, our chair, met together. So I think that we're both working on that together. And I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Forrest.
As liaison to the Parks and Rec, we have some dates. Juneteenth is going to be Sunday, June 16th. We have a spring egg hunt on March 17th. Pride in the Park, June 8th, 12 p.m. Riverside Gardens Park. So anyway, those are a few dates that we've had. We just also had a meeting like a week and a half ago of the Parks and Rec Committee. I wanted to also acknowledge our friend John Clancy. I did attend his service yesterday. He was a resident, I believe, of is that Leonard Street?
Yeah.
Leonard Street was
And he had some health problems in the last year. He was in rehab for a while and he's recently passed away. His obituary and whatnot is on Facebook, and if anybody's interested, they can contact me and I'll get you information about his family. Also mentioned he was a Army veteran. I saw some decorations there at the service yesterday. I also wanted to respond actually to Freddie Boynton's comment about River Street and the intersection with Layton, and that I live in the neighborhood, obviously, and I've gone down that street many times, and there are times where it's, it's a dangerous intersection, of course, because it goes right down to the primary school. So, usually we have crossing guards there, of course, during school hours, and thank heavens for that. But I kind of agree with his observations there. I'm not sure, maybe it's my imagination. I haven't done video evidence of this. Maybe Brian will at some point. But it seems to me the streets are just generally busier than they've been before. I know more people coming through Red Bank or cutting through, or maybe it's the GPS giving people shortcuts. I don't know what it is.
But
there's a lot of intense traffic
kind of going quickly
through. And, it is a concern. Anyway, I think that concludes my report. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
By the way, I really liked your auction.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a report. I'm the liaison to the Community Equity Engagement Committee. So one, we just wanted to put it out there again. Red Bank was rewarded a grant for the purchase of an accessible pushchair to be used in the Red Bank Classic 5K. So that will be an accessibility feature to be included in the race this year. That application for the grant was submitted by the Community Equity Engagement Committee and the Parks and Rec Department. So thank you for their work on that. If you are not following along on Facebook to the Community Equity Engagement Committee, you are truly missing out on some wonderful human stories of the people who make the fabric of our town. In December, businesses that give back to the community were featured, and these will be continued throughout the year. So if you are a business and you're doing something special, if you're doing something that benefits the community, please reach out to the Community Equity Engagement Committee so that you can be given, your flowers for doing something right. And during February, which is Black History Month, residents of Red Bank are being featured throughout the entire month. There's already some fantastic stories there. It really is just so important. So much of us spend so much time online. It's great when we can connect in person, but I urge everybody to go and take a look at those stories. It's definitely covering the community engagement part of this committee. So thank you. The committee is also going to meet again with the Red Bank Classic team to find ways to increase the number of ways that they can help. Just diversify and help anybody participating in that. And that's the report there. Trying to think if I have anything else. Nope, we covered Broadwalk. That's good. Yeah, support your local businesses. Thanks.
Just want to remind everybody again that I have open office hours. I've been getting great attendance. They've been pretty much full. And it's, I've been roping the manager into sitting in on office hours because he's right across the hall. And he's too polite to say no. But that's been great actually, because then, residents, you feel really heard. You feel heard by the person who legislates, and you also feel heard by the person who is doing the grunt work. So that's been great. And I'm excited to attend, I think it's opening weekend of the Scarlet Letter at Two River Theater tomorrow. Taking my wife on a surprise date night, so don't tell her if you see her tomorrow. We'll have a local dinner and then head over to the theater. So that's all I got.
Thanks.
Yes, Ben.
On your report, I feel a little left out.
Nancy and I go to the senior center for office hours, and I think Mr. Grant should probably drop by there too.
We all go, we have that. The other ones, yeah, when you have a chance.
We're gonna ask Mr. Grant and Mr. Gantz to stop by the office. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gant, before you go, I just want to say that we enjoy seeing our clerk who stops by the senior center to visit with the seniors, and she brings her therapy dog Smalls. I keep wanting to call him Biggie Smalls. So it's nice to, give him a pet when you see him. He's a great pup.
So I did have my
Senior Center visit scheduled for this week, but I had to cancel on them due to a meeting out at Monmouth County. So I did reschedule with our director, Jacqueline. So
I'm gonna get the full experience soon. So we've been conducting interviews for the human resource manager position already.
and I truly hope to make that decision in the near future, as I've reported on in the past. The work
On Mechanic Street's begun and will
continue next week. The crew will be saw cutting the roadway and preparing the road for the upgraded water main. And we've also
also authorize the design services, the survey services and bidding services.
for the Monmouth Street Improvement Project, which includes sidewalks, stamped concrete, and curb work and repairs that we've been talking about for a couple of meetings now. The survey crews were actually out this past week, so that work is starting. As far as the lead service line replacement program, phase one, just to give a couple dates, and I've already started to prepare a social media post for this, just to get it out there a little bit more.
What to expect, what's to come.
I know that there's obviously a couple people listening here and online, but just for the
Greater masses.
So we're
Expecting
the estimated completion of phase one,
by June of this year.
which is actually 2 months ahead of schedule. And the contract completion date was advertised as the end of August. So
We are running ahead of schedule on that. And then the following is scheduled for phase one. So we've already replaced 350 lead service lines. We've done 1,000 test pits. The month of February, we'll see 20 more lead service line replacements.
and then March through June will be the restoration process.
And I know that gained a little bit of traction on social media recently.
So that's why I want to make sure that we're communicating what the restoration will look like. Obviously, the asphalt sidewalks
That were
put down is temporary, and we're gonna go back out there and the contractor will be replacing those sidewalks and the cutouts of asphalt with actual concrete. But it's
best to pour concrete when
we
we
have a little bit warmer weather. So that'll be through March through June.
That'll include the patching of the sidewalks, topsoil, seed and straw and mulch of all the test pit locations.
And then going into phase two,
We already in January put the bond ordinance in place, which you may recall,
in February through
April. So the end of this month through the end of April, we're gonna do design permitting in coordination with the NJDEP because they have to be
brought in on this process as well. So there is a little bit of
bureaucracy that has to happen there with the NJDEP to make sure we get through that process effectively.
and then in
May, we plan to take
bids in for phase two, which will be the east side like we talked about today, and finishing up part of the west side. So through May and June, the contractor will commence.
construction.
We plan to do about 2,700 test pits to identify the service line material.
25 to 150 lead service line replacements that fell within phase one will be completed.
in that phase two as well. And
The test pits
that we conduct in phase two will inform us what sort of
lead service line replacement we're gonna have on the east side of town. And in the next week or so, I'll be meeting with our CFO to discuss our capital projects, our engineer to talk about the plan for our road program,
and the superintendent of schools
to discuss our partnership.
and have a meet and greet with each other. And just to highlight on the community equity
Committee.
engagement committee.
Thank you. This month, they actually, I think just yesterday, they highlighted Terrence.
Yep,
Walton,
yep, yes,
our
we
DPU director. And I think there's gonna be another post on Terrence tomorrow as well. So it's great to see him getting the recognition that he so deserves. And wish everyone a great Super Bowl weekend.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Jim, may I ask about Mechanic Street? When you have the plans, have they been shared with the Shade Tree Committee yet? Because they're very interested to know, like where the trees are going to go, if any.
Certainly.
Okay,
I will definitely pass that along to our engineer.
appreciate that.
I think do we have executive session?
We do.
Okay, so can I have a motion to adjourn to executive session?
Make such a motion, Mayor.
Have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
All right, thank you all for being here. We're
Thank
taking
you.
5 minutes, then going into executive session.
Thank you. The executive session topics that we will discuss tonight are two. One is litigation, state versus Poku, which is an appellate division matter, as well as Poku versus Red Bank, which is a tax appeal. We'll also be discussing a contractual matter involving the property at 110 Leonard Street. This executive session will take about 20 minutes and no action will be taken when we return to regular session. Thank you.
We got a lot done today.
Great meeting, guys.
Thank you.
Questions? We're still here. How do you guys?
Laura. I thought you could let go of Edna and she can call. I'm
Guys, show.
sorry.
I feel like,
I am so sorry about that.
My email said that you just left go and I said I'm not.